Welcome to the lab, everybody. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. It's great to see you, and it's great to be here. It is July 25th. It's just 5 minutes past the hour, and we have a wonderful guest here today. It's been a while since him and I have done a solo together, but we used to do them all the time. It was we were the only ones doing them back then, and it's so great to have you. And I'm so excited to pick your brain and just have conversation with you. Chris McDonough of the Interview Room, retired homicide detective, also cold case, works on the Cold Case Foundation, where he actively investigates crimes. And good to see you, my friend.
Josh Diaz from the lab. How are you, buddy? Great to see you. And hello, lab rats. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And I'm doing good. I've considering the week, we've done, pretty good. So I have a lot to thank. I want to thank you. I heard your kind comments on the show as well as I've spoken with you off the air about, what's going on. And I thank you for always being supportive, and have been for about 5 years now. We've, always had great communications and talks over the years. So I appreciate everything that you've done for me, and your advice and guidance. So, but doing well.
I'm glad that you're able to make the adjustments as necessary. So this is a good thing. I'm excited to be here, buddy.
Yeah, man.
I really am. Hey, check this out.
Know all the things we know, and we still need to know what you know, because there's something out there that we don't know.
I had to clip that. Compliments of you. Yeah, you. Oh, this is
gonna have the haters, right? Haters are gonna hate.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Play that one again. That was too good.
Know all the things we know, and we still need to know what you know, because there's something out there that we don't know.
I mean, I don't even know what that means.
It means scrambled eggs. That's what I mean. Scrambled eggs.
It's like one of the dumbest. I've heard some really convoluted things before, but that was like Cat in the Hat stuff. We don't know what we don't know, and you don't know what we know, but we need to know what you know.
You can't make that stuff up, man.
I know. It's just an unbelievable. The case gets weirder and weirder by the day, with very little movement. It's seemingly, and it seems as though like the further down the road we get, the further away from the actual case we get, because there's so much, like just confusion and disarray, in this case. And it's unfortunate, because at the center of it's an 84-year-old missing woman.
Yeah, isn't that a sad commentary?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Finish.
No, I'm listening.
No, I mean, that's a really sad commentary that we're still talking to her about her 7 months later, and we're not talking about somebody in custody and the next piece of this puzzle. But I got to be honest with you, I'm coming to the conclusion as days and days go by that Chris Nanos just doesn't care. I mean that in all sincerity. I think he has checked out internally, and I don't think he realized, the totality of this whole thing, and therefore, like he said a long time ago, we'll let the court sort it out. But I think he's given up. I think he has anyway, and I can sense that it's probably fallen on to this last hope, this last ditch effort of the DNA. You got to be thinking the DNA is back by now.
I would think so. I mean, look, this is something that he's put all of his eggs in one basket, and there's no substitute for gumshoe, just hard work, detective type work. And while DNA could be a pivotal piece in that, like to sit back, rest on your laurels and go, well, hopefully the DNA comes up with something. And I've sort of had a feeling that was probably going to be the case. This genetic genealogy things, look, a lot of things have to go right for that stuff to happen. It's not a miracle, it's not magic. It takes a lot of things to go right. And, and now with the new, the ransom note that it was fully released, and I believe it was her name Brianna Whitney?
Yep. She's a good journalist.
Great journalist. And then just hearing the interactions between her and Chris Nanos was quite shocking, to be honest with you. And I'm kind of stunned about it. And I was going to sort of get your reaction from it, but it sounds like you've already kind of told me how you feel about it, because I couldn't believe what he was saying.
Yeah, I mean, give it a rest, right?
Yeah. And we're not talking about 7 months down the road either.
Yeah, exactly. Give it. It's like he's there and it's happening, and she's calling to get information, and he's like, give it a rest. Wow. Have you ever? I know that you've dealt with a lot of people and stuff, but I mean, have you ever heard of a sheriff responding like that on an active crime scene when a local PD or local news station, this is their story that they're reporting on? You're not talking to some podunk town in North Dakota that's trying to get a scoop from him. This is local, and he reacts that way. Well, and there's two sides to this coin. The media has to do their job as well, and keep the pressure on him. She should have. I'm not being critical of her, but if you're a local journalist and your sheriff tells you that, then at the moment he says that, you need to respond immediately. What do you mean? Give it a rest. And then you need to report that to the public. I spoke to the sheriff last night. He told me to give it a rest. We don't understand what that means. And the fact that we're hearing about it 7 months later just goes to show you how, they tiptoe around this guy. I'm not one for tiptoeing around, incompetence, because that's how people get hurt. That's how crimes don't get solved. You have to have, you just have to say it the way it is. I mean, that you can't, there's no gray area when it comes to homicide and these type of high profile situations. You just have to go at it. And that's what a journalist does. At least they used to. But
people tiptoe around him, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, some of that is that a lot of police departments, a lot of sheriff's offices are ran by people who haven't abused people in the back of police cars and been investigated by the feds for RICO cases, and we've said this before. He can make people's lives a living hell, and it sounds like he has before this. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's out of the question. So a lot of journalists, especially young journalists, but just people in general, businesses, whatever, will kind of toe the line if he's got unfortunately he has a lot of power. And,
Well, did you just see what happened in Wisconsin, in Madison? So there was an officer who was stabbed while trying to take somebody into custody, or multiple officers there. A suspect pulls a knife, stabs one of the officers. Another officer discharges their firearm, kills him, and shoots him. And they have a big press conference about it, and everybody's protesting. And one of the protesters comes up to the podium and basically pushes the chief aside and takes over the press conference. I mean, who does that? Where's that coming from? Are you kidding me? You should have thrown that guy on the ground, put him in a chokehold, hook him up, and roll him into the back room and book him for interfering. I mean, this is a cultural thing now. It's a social thing. This is nuts, absolutely nuts. I mean, in Madison, Wisconsin, you can look it up, and it just happened, I think, within the last couple of days. And here's an officer trying to take somebody into custody. The suspect pulls a knife while they're trying to arrest him, and he stabs one of the officers. The other officer responds by discharging their weapon.
Right.
And next thing you know there are protests out on the street, and the chief's having a press conference about it. And one of the protesters comes up to the podium and basically bumps the chief out of the way and takes over the podium.
And didn't do anything.
No, he stood there. In my time, we would have choked him out, dropped him to the ground, hooked him up, and booked him. And say, anybody else try that, you're going to jail too. Soft on crime creates more crime.
Sure. No, I 100% agree with that.
Period.
There's no question in my mind that's how that works. But so here we go, with him just once again putting his thumb on everything. And but I'm not sure when we're talking about the ransom note that was revealed, where did that come from? Do you know? Like, where did who released it? Was it Brianna?
Yeah, they went to her station, and she's held on it for quite some time. And then, she just released it the other day.
And do you think that was looking back, this is 2020 vision, but you think it should have been released earlier? You think people should have seen it before that?
Well, the first question is, why did the suspect send it to the TV station? Because the suspect wanted it released. That's why they sent it. So, I think, the news station made a critical decision about whether to hold it or put it out there. Remember when BTK, Dennis Rader, and even the Zodiac was sending letters, he was hitting them. He's hitting up the news people because they wanted the attention. Okay, so that was an attention getter. And so they held on to it. And 7 months later, we now know what the context of that note was based on what she said. I mean, or else why is a suspect who's got their mother, who's got Nancy Guthrie, why is he sending it? If they didn't want it out in the public, why are you sending it to TMZ and 2 news stations? Why not just send it directly to the family? And I've always thought that was suspicious from day one. And I've said that it feels like it's noise. It's just noise. And, for all we know, it's some guy, sitting overseas, trying to play a scam. We don't know.
Well,
But-
that was Kalala's motive. He was doing tweak and sitting on the couch, trying to get Bitcoin out
See
of
him hitting the pipe, right? Or chasing the dragon. You know what chasing the dragon is, right?
Oh, I know what chasing the dragon is for sure. Yeah,
Tell your audience what chasing the dragon.
that's it's a term when you use heroin when you're trying to catch the same high that you did the very first time, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, and how do they do it though? Right? They use a piece of aluminum, and they put their dope, at the end of the aluminum, and they heat up the aluminum, and you'd use a Bic lighter underneath it, and you're smoking it, man.
Chasing that dragon, going for that. Going for that same high that's sort of what I envisioned Kalala doing at the time of it's like his little scam. And I'm still not convinced that he doesn't know much more in this case than what he's given up as well. One of the lightest slaps on the wrist I've ever seen for somebody trying to extort a grieving family for money in a kidnapping for ransom investigation. It's unreal still to me.
Yeah,
and
me too.
I've seen lots of stories. I've heard lots of stories. You've investigated more crimes than I've probably ever even heard of, but I'm not a novice. I've seen a lot of them. Never seen anything like that. And, it's still to me would not be surprising if they're trying to get him cleaned up so he can either testify or, well, pretty much to testify to what he knows.
Yeah, they've stuck him in a halfway house managed, so they put him in in-care facilities, what they call it.
Thoughtful.
You know what I mean? So he's got 24/7 supervision, allegedly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, is that Buddy or is that your guy?
It's got to be Buddy.
Karen ran to the store, so he's probably in the backyard barking at geckos. My backyard is loaded with geckos, and he just goes out there and has a field day for hours.
Does he ever catch them?
Oh yeah, he chases and throws them up in the air, and it's they just, I don't know.
I'll never forget the time that we were FaceTiming when you were, I think you might have been in Arizona at the time. This was years ago. And he was like slapping a beetle around and the beetle bit him on the nose.
Oh yeah, bit him. Oh yeah, that dog has come across all kinds. Jack Russells are amazing when it comes to like snakes. Do you know they're snake hunter?
I did know that.
I always, when we were traveling, I was always worried, because we'd be all over the country, and I'd have him off leash and he'd be running all over the place, and I always worried that if he got hold of a snake or something, while we're on a trail.
Yeah.
But fortunately, we didn't. The other night, the poor guy, he was having a little arthritis problem. I took him to the vet the other day. They gave him a anti-inflammatory for his
his heart.
legs. Yeah, well, his legs. He's having a little. He's 12. He's getting up there, but it was so funny because he was out. I had him out. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and I had taken him down to the park. And all of a sudden, this bunny just takes off in front of him about 20 feet away. And he sees this rabbit, back in the day, that he would have been gone like a bullet. But his poor little legs couldn't go as fast as they wanted to anymore.
Yeah.
And so he got like halfway and had to stop, and he turns around and he looks at me like, dang. And that rabbit was gone, man. And
That's
I
kind of
thought,
heartbreaking in a way, you know?
oh, it was so sad.
It is
Because,
sad.
that's what they want to do,
Yeah. It's like sometimes the mind is willing, but the body isn't able, kind of thing, and because he's still got that tenacity. He's always been a spunky little thing.
It's in him. It's there.
Yeah.
It's in all of them.
Right? Yeah, it is sad watching that happen. Macho has some of those moments too where he but I was telling last night, when I did the show with Dr. Gary, I was telling Otis had like a little skin reaction, under his neck. So I had taken him last week and he got the thermometer in the butt and he didn't forget about it. He was very upset at me. And then this time when we went, he sat on the chair next to me and it was like he was pretending that he wasn't the one that was getting looked at by the vet. Yeah, he was like looking around like, oh yeah, there's somebody, this is for somebody else, not me. Right. And luckily he didn't get the vitals taken, but he thought about how he was going to get out of it, and he thought that blending in was the best play for him, and that's what he did. And it seemed to he took some mercy on him, but yeah, he's doing well as well. But it's very sad when that happens to our animals.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm trying to prepare myself emotionally because I'm pretty sure, I'll be a wreck when it's his time. But he's right here. He just came back in, the fruitcake. He does. He looks like a meatloaf. But we love him. Anyway, that's it.
No, he's fantastic. But so back to, and we can take some calls if people have questions about the case.
I'm open. It's your show, brother.
I
appreciate the invite.
I love when you come hang out. It's always fun. But so anyway, we were talking about Kalala and this insane sweet deal that he had, and also there was we talked about this before. There was an unrelated. It looks like it's an unrelated case that they're on the search for a 38-year-old suspect in the murder of I believe 60-something-year-old woman in Pima County. But that doesn't seem to have any correlation to the Nancy Guthrie case, but it's just a separate thing altogether. But unfortunate, that's standard stuff, man. People are terrible.
Yeah, no, it's not going to be related.
Yeah, no, I didn't think so either.
Yeah, and you have to move on pretty quickly when that kind of stuff happens. You can't try to correlate it if you know for sure that it's cut and dry. You just go boop and you move on. Yeah, say it looks right. Your chat saying the son's already been arrested. There you go.
Oh, it was her son.
Yeah. So 10-8.
Terrible.
Say.
Yeah. What is it? It always seems to be somewhere, close to home. I'm not inferring anything. I'm just saying that, sometimes you don't have to go on the Outer Banks to find your suspects. You always start from the inside out. And that includes taking people's cars that seem to be close to the investigation. I know you get a lot of crap about that, by the way. People say, why are you picking and when you're just stating the facts of the matter. I mean, do you still receive a lot of crap about that?
About what? What exactly?
Talking about how they impounded Annie and Tomaso's car, and they say, well, you're pointing the finger, but I don't actually think you are pointing the finger.
No, I'm asking the question, right? Why somebody's got to answer the question. The sheriff hasn't. Nobody's answered the question. I mean, the common sense and investigative common sense is there are a whole bunch of things we don't know. Would you agree with that?
I would agree 100%.
Okay. The first thing we don't know outside of what the sheriff has said is what's the totality of the timeline? Meaning, is it 11 a.m. according to the sheriff and according to my sources? These are folks on the ground, by the way, in the department. We're not, so these aren't hocus pocus. They say 11 a.m. That's what they say. Okay. The sheriff initially said 11 a.m. And then within 10 hours, it turns to 11:56 a.m. Now, I know that the sheriff in many ways is incompetent. However, that's a huge, huge, Grand Canyon. 56 minutes is a long time. Is a long time. The second piece of the puzzle, at least, for me, is who's the last one to see them, her alive, and that you only have two people, maybe three. Depends on what the sheriff may or may not get correct again. The first one is the Uber driver. The second two are the daughter-in-law, or excuse me, the daughter and the son-in-law. That's it. You have three people. And so, do all three of those stories line up? And if the answer is no, then you don't leave that part of the investigation. You don't step out of it yet. Because the moment you do that, then you've lost focus of the investigation. It could be right in front of you the whole time. You'll notice Nancy's car is right there in the garage.
Yeah.
Okay. You'll see the slope right there?
Yeah.
Coming down?
Yep, right here.
So if she's
Right there.
dropped off, go ahead.
Yeah, right there. Right. Can you see my?
Yeah, you can clearly see that is a slope. Now, this is an 84-year-old woman that earlier needed her girlfriend to take her to the mailbox. Now, if we're to believe that her son-in-law drops her off, okay, fine. 9:48, the garage goes up. Does he take her? Does he drive into the garage? Or does he let her manage that incline on her own at 84? And then when you look into the garage, there's an 8-inch slab that the house is built on from the garage. So there's an 8-inch step approximately from the garage floor to the interior of the house. You've got to be asking yourself, okay, well, this is significant. And look, you'll notice that gate over there is see-through to the far right.
Yes. So you're talking about this one over here.
Right.
And what is that? Where does that gate go to?
It goes to the backyard.
Okay. Got it. So we're told that she's dropped off right here.
We don't know. We're just told that the garage door goes up at 9:48 and closes at 9:50. Now, back up one more just for a sec. This is a really good video. I want to point one other thing out to you that people have missed. Okay, stop.
Okay.
Whoop. Okay, right there. Do you see any other evidence that's in this photograph right here? It's just in this piece. I'm going to point another thing out, and I'm doing it here on your show again. I love doing it on your show, to be honest.
I love it too, actually.
I know you do. All right, you're going to get more clicks on this, meaning you're going to get people. All right, everybody look at this picture. Where are the anomalies? Think like a homicide investigator. All right. You see anything, Josh? You got Nancy's car there in the driveway, right?
Yeah, I don't have anything other than no, I don't see anything.
Look right where your cursor just was.
Is it these doors?
Look at the mat.
Oh, right here.
If the suspect allegedly,
I was looking right here, but I wasn't looking at the mat.
there's a mat on the front porch. There's a mat in front of these doors. Why isn't that collected? Everybody, we talk about, well, the mat on the front porch wasn't collected. Well, either was this one. There it is in the picture. If the suspect allegedly went around the back of the house and allegedly propped the door open, he's got to walk right past that door. We're 7 months into that. I've seen this a long time, but I don't talk about a lot of things that I see because, I want to be honest with you, release it sometimes.
Sure, sure.
When it gets to that point. But that mat's been sitting there because everybody's been talking about the front door, but nobody's been talking about the suspect allegedly walking past that casita and going into the backyard. Okay. Number one, that's a see-through gate. So why are you just dislodging the light allegedly in the backyard with a see-through gate? What are you worried about? Is there, the camera? Okay, fine. Then why are you walking straight up onto a camera in the front porch? Now, the car, Nancy's car, over time was towed. That's a no-brainer. She's the victim.
So you would tow her car just
Absolutely.
out of precaution,
an abundance of caution.
You would tent it and have it taken apart, basically.
Yep. You hook it up and you send it to the evidence facility and you have it processed.
Makes sense.
And then I would have walked around and said, okay, I want that mat. I want the front mat. I want the back door mat, because the suspect has to step on things. I want the mat in the garage going into the house, if there's a mat there, which I assume you'll see. I want all the mats, collect them all. Every door that has a mat, I want them all. Okay. And they all go into evidence. I want all the door handles swabbed. I want everything.
Would you take the door handles?
I would swab the door handles. I wouldn't. The front door, I would have probably taken the entire
thing,
door system. And depending on what the family said. Now, by the way, this is that sergeant, that homicide sergeant that was at the press conference the next morning. See this guy?
Yeah.
Okay. He's got a pair of black gloves on. Go back to him coming out of the garage. He's got nothing on his feet. Yet we know there's blood evidence.
He probably should have been wearing some like booties of some kind.
Something. But he's looking too cool. And he's in the crime scene, by the way.
Yeah, the whole thing's a hot zone. Everything. But really quick, going back to this where you're talking about so I believe it was Tommaso who dropped her off.
Mm-hmm.
And that she allegedly goes through, what we would imagine, since the garage door opened, it took 2 minutes. I mean, is it even a possibility? I guess it is, that he or anybody else would make her walk in by herself?
Well, anything is, that's always possible, of course, but that's why it's critical to take Tommaso right there after, you've done your preliminary evidence collections, your photos, your measurements, you've collected all your swabs, your forensics, okay? And you have him stand right, in the gravel, and you say, okay, where did you park? I parked here, sir. Okay. Then what happened? Well, mom got out of the car. Then what? Where did you see her go? Well, I pressed the button and the garage door went up. Or she pressed the button because she has the app on her phone and the garage door went up. Then what happened? You see where that can go? And you let the narrative create itself.
Sure, because I mean, he's the last one to have seen her before she was abducted.
He's the last proof of life.
He's the last one to see her alive. Correct.
That's it. Why leave? Why leave from that person?
But I also find it entirely strange, and maybe look, I don't know. This could be nothing, and it probably is. But I find it completely odd that he would drive her home by himself.
And Porch Guy's not the last proof of life.
Yeah, how is that possible? Why would he be proof of life?
He may be the proof of death.
Yeah, we don't know where he. Yeah, we don't know. But do you find that strange at all, or
what? Say it again.
Him. I just find it odd that he would drive her home alone without Annie.
Well, you have both narratives again.
I don't know. I find that really weird, but that's like, I don't know why exactly I find it weird, but I would think that the mother or the daughter would go along for the ride personally. But, and I don't know how old their child is. I think he's a teenager or maybe older than that, but
Well, if that's the case, then that's where you want to go and find out what is the pattern of life. Meaning, when mom has come over on various other occasions, how does she get home? Who drives her home? Is this just a regular pattern? Oh, well, Tommaso, take mom home. Okay. Come on, mom, let's go. And then the question is, where's the car parked that she shuffles out to get into? Is it in their garage? Is it on their driveway? In the Honda? Where's that car at Tommaso's house the night Nancy's driven home? I want to know that information. So, does he have to help her into the car? And if so, did he help her out of the car? And if he helped her into the car, why did he not help her out of the car? You see, these minutia details may seem like nothing, but they could also be extremely probative.
Sure. No, absolutely.
Because then you could start reverse engineering the conversation. See that person walking in the back there? In the backyard? I just walked by. See right there.
Oh, yeah. I see him right there. Right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of movement going on in this house. And this was before the FBI got there.
Well, so, and that's another thing that came up just recently again was that the FBI director was saying, like, they certainly we're not let in until 4 days after, and that there could have missed critical details, critical information by the 4 day delay of Chris Nanos, allowing them to come in. And now, once again, it is a state matter, and he has deferred it to being a state matter. But the one thing that the FBI is good at is digital recovery. They're good at
But
it.
the digital evidence and their evidence response team.
Yeah, they're great. I mean, that's kind of their crown jewel. That's what they're good at it.
Who do you think this sergeant here, this new sergeant, is on the phone with for the last couple of minutes that we've been watching? And now this guy in the backyard, is he getting on the phone too?
He looks like he's on the phone. Yes.
Okay, but who do you think the sergeant's on the phone with?
Nanos.
There's a high probability. Either that or the lieutenant or the captain. But he's on a chain of command, is what we call it. This guy doesn't have a phone out yet. He's studying the backyard. He's trying to figure out how the point of entry is. I don't even know who this person is.
It's just the people just everywhere.
She's going to go out the side gate. Oh, no.
No, she went in through the back door.
I don't know. See, this guy here is trying to think. See his arms crossed. He's like, do I see anything? Any anomalies? This is weird. Nothing out of the ordinary. Think like Winnie the Pooh, remember? Think.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like that's what he's doing there for sure.
Right, but then you've got, go back to, now she's in the garage now. She's come through and into the garage. She's got an evidence marker in her hand. See that? She's got a yellow evidence marker in her hand. Go back. In her left hand, you'll see the flash of yellow, and she's got a triangle evidence marker in her hand. So they're marking evidence in the house because she's headed back into the house. You'll see it right there.
There it is right there.
Yeah, watch when she walks by, you'll see it even better. Right there. Right there. You just barely see the flash of yellow right there.
There it is.
That's it. So she's looking for evidence to put that evidence marker down on.
So it looks like she's getting ready to put down an evidence marker in the garage somewhere, probably.
Or she's looking for something. And remember, those markers are numbered. So that's probably not number 1.
Look, here somebody comes through the gate right here.
They're going to the light.
So, I mean, it looks like from the video that they're investigating it as the point of entry was through the back. And that's what Savannah has said as well, that the back doors were propped open with pots and heavy plants. And I mean, they sure are certainly focusing heavily back there.
Well, they probably found it that way. Sure.
Yeah, probably.
So they're up on the roof, but that light's hanging down right to the right of them. And that guy there with the log, he's keeping the evidence log. The guy that walked out with the clipboard.
It's crazy.
Now, what's really weird is, they're doing, they're doing a thorough, let's look and see. But the light's hanging down. You've got the camera up on the other casita. I can't tell if there's a mat in front of the blue door there. I don't think there is.
I don't see it. I don't see a mat. I don't see a mat there. It looks like just, oh, but there we go. That's concrete. Dirt, then concrete.
Now,
Maybe there was a mat there, and maybe they took it.
maybe.
but it doesn't seem like they're very interested in taking mats. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but it's
Well, if this is the point of entry also into the kitchen, if that's the door that's propped open, why are you coming in and out of that point of entry if that's the way they found it?
yeah,
You'd want to create another point of entry. You don't walk the same place the suspect walked. If that garage, let's say that doors is propped open there, right, on the back patio to the right, which that's the report, right, that the back patio was propped open. Everybody's coming out of that same door.
which is very odd. Who are these orders coming from? Is it the lead investigator telling them? So say this was your crime scene, and you were point on this. You would be the one directing the evidence collection team to be doing what they're doing now.
No, you assign somebody on your team as what we call the crime scene manager. So the way it should have worked and works. Okay, so now you can see the doors stop for a minute. Does that look like there's a pot a little bit further away from the door and that the door's propped open? Maybe. I can't tell because it's dark underneath the patio, but that's what everybody's, and I think there's been some other photographs that you can see that door may have been propped open. But to answer your question, when you first get to a situation like this, the first thing you do is you debrief the first officer on the scene. And you say, what we call circle up. Everybody gets in a little circle and we say, okay, what do we have? Well, we got the back door propped open. Mom's missing, yada, yada. Here's what the RP said, i.e. the brother-in-law, sister-in-law, or daughter. There looks like there's, blood on the front porch. All of her stuff is here, and the back door is propped open. Okay. Now you're going to have assignments. You're McDonough, you're going to be the case agent. Jones, Smith, whoever, yada, yada. You're going to be the second, meaning you two work in tandem. And then the third guy, who do you want to manage the scene? They go to the case agent. And the case agent says, okay, I want you, whoever, Chuck, Bob, Hank, whatever. You're managing the scene. Now that scene manager is responsible for these CSIs, crime scene investigators. So he go ahead.
The heck is this thing? Sorry, Chris.
That's all right. He or she oversees these crime scene investigators. Now that looks like fan belt inspector, FBI on the back there. Is it on her shirt? I can't tell. Does it say FBI?
Let me see.
Or does it say CSI?
I don't know. I think it might say FBI, but I'm not sure.
Okay. So one says police. The one in the back looks like it says police. I can't read it.
Yeah, look. Maybe it is. Maybe it says FBI. Yeah, that says FBI.
Yeah. Okay. So these are the evidence, folks, from the feds.
I wonder what day this was.
I don't know.
Let me see. What was that?
Somebody needs to subscribe to your channel.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's cool.
The heck was
All
that?
the things we know, and we still need to know what you know, because there's something out there that we don't know.
Let's see. Where is it? It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't say. But this is from Maximus Aviation.
Now, the interesting thing about this is if this the FBI team, which it looks like it may be, then that sergeant on the phone that was out in the driveway is leading this thing.
Oh, the one that was on the phone.
Uh-huh. I'll let you do the math on that.
Why so interested in the roof?
But you never know. You don't know. I mean, suspects sometimes they throw things up on the roof. They, could have been a point of entry of some sort. Did he come through a vent? Did he come through a HVAC system? That's a pretty extensive HVAC system.
It sure is.
So, and that's just the casita. See, they're looking for anything that could be
Just
underneath
any
there.
sort of evidence.
That's great. That's a good thorough search. They're into the casita. They're going in and out. They're looking to see, could he have used the tree to get, to gain entry or whatever? There's a lot of what ifs, but you always want to check those boxes and click through it, for lack of a better term. I'm interested to see all the people in the backyard on that one. Whoops.
Oh, here?
Yeah, it looked like there were people congregating or coming out of the house. There's more people coming in the front.
Let me back up a little bit here. There.
They are. See, that's the.
Hold on, let me go back
See?
a little bit.
See how he's standing there like he's in charge. See that?
Yeah, the cavalry has arrived here.
Okay. But look at that supervisor. Now it doesn't look like that door's propped open, does it to you?
No, I don't see a propped open door.
I don't know
Doesn't
what.
look-
Now he's coming out the other door. There's a blue door that goes into the living room.
Yeah, isn't there a door on each side here?
Yeah, there's one to the
One
left.
here, one here. Yeah.
Correct. The one to the left goes into the kitchen.
So I wonder if those were the doors that she was talking about. Being propped.
He's.
Wonder if is there a third door though? Is there a third door under there? So like maybe one here to the left, one to the right, and then one, back here.
I've had some. I have photos. I don't recall right off the top of my head. There are 6 points of entry, though. I remember that into the house.
That's so many. That's a lot of doors.
Well, it's a lot
big
of
house. It's a big house. Yeah.
Right. And if you think about it, let's freeze that right there. Does it make any sense that the suspect would take her out the back?
No.
And then you've got that big bush there on the sidewalk. He's got to get her over that. He's got to manipulate that, step over to himself with her while holding her. Does that make any sense when she's 84 and needs to go to the mailbox and she has to call her girlfriends? And do you see that light right there at the edge on that column? It looks like a light. I can't tell for sure, but it looks like a light. See that one up there? The gray on the far left, right
here?
there. Is that a light?
Yeah, that's a light.
Why isn't that hanging? Why doesn't the suspect disable that light?
It looks like a motion light.
Well, but why isn't it disabled? Like the
Yeah, I
one to
don't
the
know.
left. You know what? The suspect decides, okay, I'll prop the door open. Yeah, screw this light. I'll get the other one. Does that make any sense?
No.
You would think if you're going to take the time to disable these two lights, disable them. What about the back hanging lights in the backyard? All those decorative lights. Is he not worried about those lights? If he's worried about light, why are those hanging there? Why not pull them down? You see that because when you start thinking like that, you start thinking about, well, gosh, you know, this hanging light is kind of an anomaly. And that's when you start leaning into this idea of saying, well, is it involved? Or is it a rabbit hole?
The lack of cameras is what shocks me. We have a short house. I've installed 8 cameras, all of which I can access right now from my phone. Husband driving the mill home doesn't bother me though. The mother-in-law. I'm not saying it bothers me. Bother is not the word. I just find it odd because, and I know that there will be people in the chat that will say, yeah, well, my, husband drives my mom home. And look, I'm not painting with this broad brush that it never happens, that it's something that is impossible, that nobody would allow. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the dynamics of it are different. It's not, it's for the people that are saying that it happens. It's just not that common. I don't think, personally, I wouldn't think it is. It's not something that I am that familiar with. But look, I don't know I don't know the I don't know the dynamic of the family. And also those lights, Chris, those ones that are hanging there, those things could easily just be ripped down. I mean, that would be a very easy thing to do.
Well, first of all, think about let's put our heads on in terms of putting ourselves in the suspect's mind. Number one, he chooses a full moon. If you're worried about light, doesn't that light over by the garage hanging down not make any sense? If you've surveilled this house for a couple of weeks, wouldn't you have the conversation with your partner saying, okay, well, what are we worried about? Well, we've got these front 2 lights out front, these, fixtures. Okay, well, we can deal with that. We've got all these floodlights in the back, including these decorative lights that are hanging on. Okay, we can do with that. And we've got 1 floodlight over by the blue door. Okay, well, let's take that one down. Huh? Is that the only one we want to take down? Yeah, of course. We only need to take that one down. We'll leave everything else in place. And let's prop the back door open. And take her out the front.
Yeah. So, but it does make sense that they would come in from the back. Now, once again, going back to what Savannah said, and the great John Lamb has said, look, we're going off of what Savannah says. And, I would venture to say that she probably has some idea what she's talking about, and I get a little bit confused on this, and maybe you can clarify for me, but they say that that sometimes she would leave her back door unlocked, correct?
Well, that's what people say.
Right. You don't buy that.
Well, where'd the narrative come from?
Well, that's the other thing. And who would know that?
Okay. Right. Well, first of all, she's 84 years old. She's coming home at least 10 o'clock at night. And her doors are open because we have to presuppose she didn't lock them. So that means they were left open. That means she left the house with the doors open. You see, in order for that narrative to work, if she got home at 10 o'clock, 9:48 to 9:50, she just walked in the house, got ready for bed, and went to bed. Left the doors open, didn't check them, didn't do nothing. And the suspect gets there and goes, "Oh, look at this. The doors are open. I'm coming in." So does that means she left at 5 o'clock in the afternoon with her doors wide open in her house, in the back doors? Then why is the front door locked? Why is the garage down?
Well, and to answer this question, I don't think that when you say left them unlocked, I don't think she left them open.
Well,
I don't think she left them wide open. Well,
No,
right,
but-
right.
Right? I mean, unlocked is open. That's how it's described. Why?
Yeah, no. The front seemed to be pretty secured from.
So is the back. It had multiple doors, multiple locks on them. It's got two lock mechanisms, one on the handle and the deadbolt system. Why have two locks if you're not locking them?
And a lot of people have said that they don't buy the fact that, she's 84 years old, that she would leave her doors unlocked. I kind of understand because of the proximity of this house to other places. I can see that. I could see why being there for 40, 50 years, that there's a false sense of security. I'm not saying it's right. And I certainly do not subscribe to the idea that you should ever leave your doors unlocked anywhere you are. But, living somewhere for so long with no incidents, I mean, you might get tucked into a false sense of security. Would you understand that, Chris?
Well, at 84 years old, there's always a higher awareness of security. It's not a lower awareness of security.
Yeah, but you're looking at it as a homicide detective, not an 84-year-old woman that's lived there for 50 years.
Correct.
So do we think it's a great idea? No. I mean, you teach risk mitigation. I mean, that's something that you teach. So you're not seeing it through her eyes, and nor am I. But if I'm to sit back and go, well, I can understand that she's been there for so long, and from what we understand, there's no incidents at her home. Nobody's ever, that we know of, that she would leave her door unlocked in the back. Happens.
Then why have a security motion light? You don't need that. You don't need that either.
But it's a half attempt at security. It's not like they've put. Look, there should be cameras all over that place. There should be cameras in the back in each door. You would think that that is a enormous house. So
correct.
I don't think that it's that abnormal for somebody to feel, especially in the Catalina foothills, to think that they might be a little bit more secure than they are.
Well,
now, does it make sense to you? No, of course it wouldn't make sense to you, because I can guarantee you deadbolt every door you have, right?
correct.
Of course. But you've seen a lot more than most people.
Right. But most people of that age are also wise enough to have seen a whole bunch in their life and for them to decide, you know what, I don't need to lock my doors. I don't need to check my doors at night. I just need to get home, come in, and go to bed. I guarantee you that wasn't her routine. I would lean more towards if you did a random check, and we can do it right here in the chat. Okay. A random check. If you're over 60, hypothetically, most of you are 25. I get it. If you're over 60 and you don't check your doors at night, put a 1.
Yeah, but I
Or
mean,
a thumb. Put a thumb that you don't check your doors at night. Put a thumb.
but that doesn't really count though, because people
What do you mean
are
it doesn't count? This is
because
this is the group that you
because
want,
it's not
that you want to do.
I know, but it's not a controlled test. People are watching this going, I would never do that, and there are people that would have done it. I can guarantee you.
Uh-huh.
But they're watching it.
I'll guarantee you 8 out of 10 do it.
Nah, I don't think so.
Look at all the thumbs. Here they come.
Yeah, of course they're going to agree with you.
Well, they're not going to agree with me. I don't want you. Don't agree with me. Whatever you do for Josh, do not agree with me.
It's not that. You would have to do it where they don't know what you're talking about first. It would be like Family Feud when they go to the mall and they ask people the question without knowing. People are going to go, yeah, of course I do. I've been watching the Nancy Guthrie thing. I always check my door.
I have a question for you, Josh.
Yeah, I check
you
my
lock
doors.
your doors at night?
Of course.
Why?
Because
why
wouldn't I?
No, because isn't an answer.
I don't live in the Catalina foothills.
It doesn't matter. Do you lock your doors at night?
Yes, I lock my doors.
Now, does your grandma lock her doors?
I lock the doors.
Yeah, you lock the doors for grandma.
Yeah.
Does your grandma lock her doors when you're not
She
around?
has forgotten to lock doors before, yes.
Oh, not forgetting. I'm not talking about forgetting. I'm talking about, does she do it as a habit? You know the answer.
I mean, I guess.
Of course she does. Of course she does.
But my grandma's not the same as Nancy either. I mean, people are different.
Of course, but people are also the same.
Somebody just said she was 75 years old and she doesn't. Thank you for answering honestly. I appreciate you.
And again, 8 out of 10. That's number one. We got one more, maybe a couple more. I guarantee you the majority of people, just people, anybody, locks their doors in the evening. I mean, it's just common sense. It's common sense. And where did the narrative come from, by the way? Let's talk about that again. The narrative always comes from only one place in this particular case, the whole case. It comes from the brother-in-law and the daughter saying, well, she leaves her door open at night. If your grandmother said to you, you know what, Josh, from now on, I'm just going to leave my doors open. What are you going to tell her?
I'm going to tell her that that's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, what are you, on crack, grandma? No, you're going to lock your doors.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but
I know you wouldn't, but
no, maybe I might actually.
You would want to say, are you serious? Come on. No. I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, did you hear about the other 65-year-old woman, in the same area, and then say, but Nancy left her doors open at night. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but aren't there other people in that neighborhood that have said the same exact thing?
What thing?
About locking doors.
What about them?
That
you can't fix stupid.
Look, I agree. I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm saying that it's likely, it's very possible that in this community, in this setting, because it's so isolated, that people do it. I'm not saying it's smart. I'm not saying it makes a lot of sense. I'm not saying that you should do it. I'm saying that people do do it. And I know you can say 8 out of 10 all you want, but Nancy could have been she could have been 2 out of the 10.
Then you know what that tells me?
That she wasn't being properly
No, I'm
cared
not
for.
talking about Nancy. I'm talking about the suspect.
Oh,
Then I'll put the suspect in the house before he kidnapped her.
stop what? What am I supposed to stop? Having a conversation? You stop.
No, I will, if Nancy's habit is to leave the doors open, then he came in the house before.
That's what I'm trying to say. That you would have to know that that's what she does.
There you go.
Because you're not just going to go up to the back door and go, I wonder if this is unlocked. I'm saying people do, but I mean, there was.
Why didn't he kidnap her then?
There was a plan. I don't know.
He decided. I mean, you see it. Those kind of things like that, where just the light hanging down. It won't surprise me at some point if we find out that the suspect had a key.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And that he came through the front door. That's why he took the camera down. And the back door is just a prop.
Sort of staged.
Could be. But who had time to do that?
Well, that could explain the 40 minutes or whatever, 40 to 50 minutes of kind of, wandering around outside. I mean, there's a lot of activity going on between, this pergola or whatever you would call that back porch overhang, the pool house. I mean, they're spending a lot of time and more so seemingly back here than on the front porch.
They're looking at the camera. They're looking for the camera right there.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
I never check my doors. If I lock it, I lock it. But if I don't go back and check that night, I live alone and have even left my keys in the door. Of course.
There you go. Yep.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think it might be a neighborhood thing.
Well, no, I think that's a mistake. That's what she's saying there. She's saying that her habit is to check the doors, but sometimes she forgets to do that. So now we can presuppose that Nancy on this particular night forgot to lock her doors. Not that she leaves her doors open. There's a difference.
Yeah, but the narrative is that she does leave them open.
And do you believe that narrative? Because if you do, I've got a great bridge for sale in Brooklyn. Gary can probably get us a deal.
I don't want any real estate in New York these days.
I don't either.
But I don't know. I guess I could see it both ways. I would hope that wasn't the case. Because look, this is how the conversation would go. Say I was, say my grandmother, she lived alone, and I would go over and I go, "Are you locking your doors at night?" She said, "No, I leave my back doors unlocked." I said, "Well, you need to stop doing that. Make sure to lock them at night." That would be the conversation. And then I would make sure that was happening. Of course. But, some people, it has nothing to do with, I'm not taking a shot at anybody's intelligence or saying somebody said, well, she's smarter than that. I don't know. I don't know the lady. I've never met her.
You're pretty easy to convince.
I'm not convinced. Did you hear? I said I could see it both ways.
Yeah, but you spent 30 minutes on whether or not the doors are locked. And that's exactly
what's been said.
And that's what they want you to believe.
But this came from Savannah. It also comes from the neighbors, the
Who
people that
told-
know her the best.
Who told Savannah? The
I
same
don't know.
person that said it's your fault, honey? Where did the narrative come from that mom was dropped off at 9:50 at night? Where did all the narrative come from? It's contained in a particular tight circle. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay, great. And we're still talking about it 7 months later. Guess what? I'm not talking about it. I can guarantee you that body camera on the first responding officer is critical. And the fact that this thing is starting to slow down and drag tells me that this guy here in the blue shirt on the far right
Yeah, right here.
didn't lock him down fast enough, the story. And that's why they took the car, to make sense of it. Let's talk about the family car.
Sure.
Why are you impounding the daughter's car who called 911 to report their mother disappeared?
I've always found that odd, and I've always found it odd that they kept it for as long as they did, and I'm still completely curious as to why they would do that. I mean, I don't think it's a good enough answer to say that was the last vehicle that she was in. That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't
But
make sense to you.
Do you not believe them?
Believe who?
The person that said, I drove her over and dropped her off in my car.
I don't know if I don't know if I believe, because I've heard it two different ways. It was the family that dropped him off, then it was Tommaso that dropped him, or that dropped her off.
Okay. Let's take them out of it. Why do you need their car?
Yeah, I don't know. Because you're suspicious that something happened.
Right? Why are you suspicious?
Well, not me, but it's the police department or the
Why
sheriff's
are they
department.
suspicious?
Because that was the last vehicle that they knew that she was in, and the person that was in that vehicle was the last person that could verify that she was ever alive.
So basically you need to verify she was in the car.
Basically, they're saying, no, we don't believe, we don't, we need to verify. We don't know if you're telling the truth.
Why?
And I agree with you.
I mean, they're telling the truth, right? They drove her home 9:48, 9:50. That's it. Drop mom off. Okay. Subscribe to Josh's channel.
How do you do that from your from your computer?
Know all the things we know, and we still need to know what you know.
You know what my favorite thing is like
we don't know.
We get into these debates, like we haven't been debating stuff for a long time, and people always go, give it a rest. Like, this is the show. This is what we're doing.
All right. So how many, let's just think about this, right? From an investigative analysis aspect, or just from just common sense. All right. Now, the next day they get this note, or this day, I don't know what day this is taken. And in that note, it says, the floodlight in the back is broken and her Apple Watch is on the floor. Okay, which floodlight? The white one right there hanging, or the gray one on the column? And if it's just the white one, why aren't you disconnecting the one on the column? So that leaves a question mark in the suspect's thinking. The next thing. the car. Again, let's go. Let's just stay with the car for a little while. Hey, we need your car. Yeah, sure, no problem. And we're going to take it apart. What do you mean? Why? Well, because we believe you.
Right. Of course. That makes no sense.
I mean, call me stupid. I said that to Nancy Grace, and she goes, "Come on, McDonough." And I said, "Well, then give me the reason." If you're a prosecutor and you find out that the RP, the reporting party, the cops impounded their car and then sent it to an evidence facility to process it. And it took 40 days to do that. I was the first one on the internet to point that out to anybody. And I'm not saying, I'm patting myself on the back. I'm just saying that it's not my first rodeo. And I wanted to know, well, what in the world that was all about. And one of the main reasons is we actually do a scenario when we teach homicide investigation. It's actually called "Who's in My Car?"
Oh, really? Okay.
And what you do is you divide everybody up, and you get various cars inside the class, various detectives who are attending the course. And you divide teams and you have them go and analyze the personality within the car. And then you take the owner of that car and you have them write down 5 things they will never find about their personality and their secret life within their own cars. You will be surprised when they come back to report about the personality of the person in that car. And then what we do is we take the detective who owns the car and hold their list up and see if they got any of it right. I can tell you some detectives use their car, they take their kids to softball, they do all kinds of stuff. And you can tell a lot about the way somebody lives by the way their car is organized or disorganized. Just turn the radio on in any car and then thumb through the radio stations, or if it's a satellite, look at the different type of satellite stations they listen to. Do they listen to Fox News? They listen to CNN, MSNBC? Because that's going to tell you a lot about their personality. Listen to the type of music. Are they listening to the country? Are they listening to grunge, 9 Inch Nails, Led Zeppelin? What are they listening to?
Shout out 9 Inch Nails.
Shout out to 9 Inch Nails.
Love them.
Or
somebody said, Chris, that this is from the 6th. So this would be the 4th day.
Okay.
This is when the FBI was officially let in. So they're crawling all over the place now.
Yeah. And the light's still hanging there.
And the mats are still there. I mean, it's crazy.
And by the way, they'd already had the note by this time then.
That's a good point.
But going back to this idea of, okay, there's all kinds of stuff you can find out. What if this is a body dump? What do I always talk about in body dumps that's critical, especially in this type of terrain? You want to take all the filters out of the car. A lot of folks don't know there's a filter behind their glove box. If you pull your glove box off, there's a filter back there, an air filter. A lot of suspects just take their front filter, but they forgot the one in the glove box. So you take them all. Why is that important? Because you can send it to the lab. And let's say her body's found one day. And wherever that body is found, there's vegetation, there's all kinds of stuff around that body. What if you send it to a botanist? What if the same type of pollens or the same type of, air particles from where the body's found is trapped inside the car's filter? Now you can actually put the suspect at the body just by an air filter from the interior of the car. Because now they have to explain why the air filter captured the same type of pollen where the body was. I've had cases like that, by the way.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's very interesting.
Right, where you talk to the suspect and they go, well, I was nowhere near that. You say, okay, well, let me show you something. And you show them a lab report. Say, look, I want to believe you, but, help me out here. Help me understand. That's why they take cars apart. They're not just for the telematics. Everybody's going, well, yeah, they want to see the GPS and the digital footprint. No,
I'm not even sure that their car did have that.
Well, what if there's a weed?
Right.
What if there's brush trapped up inside in the tires, in the tire wells? What if there are rocks? Okay. In the tire treads. And let's say the individual says, well, I just dropped her off and, I pulled into the garage. Okay, fine. Well, now you can put the car at the house. So that could be a truthful statement or it could be a dishonest statement. Wherever the investigation is going to take you. And look at the guy in the front porch in this one. By the way, it's a little late because the crime scene had already been released.
That's what I was going to ask. So the crime scene had been released, then it had been re-secured, and then the FBI comes in. It either had been released once or twice. I can't remember how many times, but it had been released a couple of times.
Yeah, we don't even know if that footprint,
times.
if that one little blood stain on the front porch. You have a picture of that blood stain on the front porch, Josh?
I believe I do. Let me see.
Pull that up.
Let me bring it up really quick.
Okay, you see that one down at the bottom that there's a lot of conjecture about, is that from a tennis shoe or a shoe or something like that one? See it looks like the letter H almost down at the bottom tile.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's an anomaly because the other is easy. Those are 90-degree drops, meaning blood's going straight down. The other one looks like aspiration of some sort, a cough like that. That's where you could get that type of, low velocity, but there's enough dynamics inside of that blood. The only way you would really know if it's coming from the mouth or anything like that is you would have to swab it. And if you found saliva in it, then you're into something. Okay. And you'll see the little white gaps inside of those other droplets. Okay. Can you zoom in on any of that by chance?
I can give it a try. Hold on.
It's okay if you can't.
Probably.
I want to point out a couple of things. Whoops. Okay, pull it up.
Oops.
All right. Oh, this is good. Okay, you see the white spots in the middle.
Yeah, like right here.
Okay. Yeah, but go to the one to the far left. That one right there. Okay. That could be a couple of things. Number one, it could be called what they call satellite, where you see how, look at the one above it. That's perfect in almost shape, right? It's like
Yeah.
a circle. Okay. That's called 90 degree, meaning it was a droplet that went straight down, 90 degrees. Okay. Sometimes when droplets go straight down, if there are multiple, you could get this anomaly on the bottom where it hits almost simultaneously behind each other. And then that's what they call satellite. So it's like hitting a puddle of water. Okay. And so it would come straight down and a second one could hit it again and it would create these smaller little droplets around that round circle. See the smaller little droplets? Okay, it's
Yes.
like a splash. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's called satellite because it's like drip, drip,
Hits
splash.
and then bounces. Yeah.
Right. Drip, splash, drip, splash. Now you can see that they're going in different directions. Okay. And then if you look to the far right, up at the top, you'll see, go back to the left, keep going up right there. That one. See, that one's perfect.
Perfect.
Okay. And that's quite a dense, and there's a little more volume of blood within inside of that one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
So if you'll look at now this big pile here,
Here.
that right there, if you look to the circle to the left of that, in that one right there, okay?
Yes.
That blood droplet was there before all of the other, what we would call aspiration potential. So that means she was bleeding before she coughed because it's on top of it. Do you see that?
Yes.
So that means she's bleeding and then goes like
Yeah,
that.
it's like it's layered.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Now, if you look over here to the right now, you'll see these here look like they're crescents or something to that effect.
This right here?
Right. Those anomalies, as well as the other blank spots in some of this, could have been caused by swabbing. The criminalist getting in there and swabbing that blood and taking, blood samples.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's go down to the one that looked like a tennis shoe. That one right there.
This one?
Yeah, go into that. All right. Now, you see, it looks like they could have swabbed those two top ones, but the one to the left in the grout with the weeds around it, we don't know if all the people that got on the porch kicked any of those weeds into this blood. So we can't say the suspect did this because they released the scene. We don't know also if this other anomaly here is from the suspect either. There is a lot more volume. Can you zoom in a little bit more on the H looking thing?
Let me try. No, I don't think that's about as far as I can get in.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. All right. So there's two things now from an investigation side that you have to say, okay, can we use this? Can we use this and say, yeah, this belongs to the suspect? I don't know. That's a 50-50. There's a couple things though that is really interesting here. The first thing is the volume of blood. You see how solidified this is, meaning it's almost like a stamp. Like how you take an ink stamp, an inker, an ink stamp, and you go boom like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you have to have a volume of blood somewhere to make this ink stamp. So do you see a volume of blood anywhere around that the suspect would have stepped into to create this ink stamp?
I have not. It did not.
All right. So that causes one to think about something. Did somebody come out of the house and step in a bigger volume of blood and it's on the bottom of their shoe or an item, anything? We don't know what it is. And you won't know until you talk to the suspect, by the way. We don't know if, number one, this is a cross-contamination from one of the journalists or anybody, or does it actually belong to the suspect? We know it belongs potentially to Nancy, we think. We know for sure some of this is Nancy's blood. But we don't know about this ink stamp piece of this puzzle. Let's hypothesize. Let's say somebody has a shoe and they dip that into a concentration of blood. Could you potentially use that shoe as an ink stamp? The answer is yes. So you can't take it off the table. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You can't say definitively either. So you have a 50-50 thought process here. You can't go either way right now. And this is why investigators get hung up, is they try to figure it out. We can't do that because when you pull this picture back and look at the patio now, the front porch, what are the things we're missing in this blood stain? We're not seeing a pattern of disintegration is what I'll call it. Meaning if you stepped in a high concentration of blood like that and create that type of pattern, you are going to see a diminished pattern moving away from that blood if it's on the bottom of a shoe. So that could be a transfer of something. It could be from her hand. She could have covered her face and then put her hand down. And that's where you're getting the concentration of blood, the majority of the blood from her face. And that's why it looks a little bit more solidified, which I have thought that she fell and she would, if this is, a theory, she gets to the step there. You'll notice there's a step over the threshold and she trips. And she was covering her nose like this. Look at me. She's covering her nose and she falls. You'll have a concentration of blood on your hand. And when you fall, now you get an ink pattern from your hand. And because it came from your hand, you're up now and you're not getting it any further than just that spot. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I don't think it's a footprint. I think it's much more logical that it could have come a transfer from maybe one of her hands
So a fall.
from a fall. And that's why you get the cough
On the
And-
ground.
So she's covering her face when she's coming out, and it's getting a concentration of her own blood onto her hand. Okay. And when she falls, she catches herself with her hand, and now you get a transfer like that on the front porch. And then somehow she's moving again because you see that blood start to move out towards the porch, but not in a large concentration, very minimal. And remember, I did a show where it looked like it turned. It came off the porch and it went to the right towards the bottom.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember that show. Yeah. And somebody said, so it's like an aspiration, like it could be blood from the nose that went into the mouth, or it could be that she was bleeding from inside of the mouth and coughed it out.
Either one. It's possible that
Or internal bleeding.
well, anything is possible. We don't know. So we can't say. See where they're looking right now?
Yeah.
That's where the blood turned. Right there. See how they're looking down? They're bending down. Right where that guy's standing, just before that, it started to turn. So I think they took her that way.
But so that was sort of my thought, was that the reason the porch guy was there was to disable the camera so they could bring her through the front, and that they didn't, or that they were going to pull the car up at some point that was going to take her away, whatever vehicle that was. They didn't want the vehicle possibly being seen on the camera, depending on how, the settings on the Nest cam. So, but I think you're right. I think that she was taken instead of down those steps, that the car could have been parked up a ways, and they were carrying her off so it wasn't within the purview of the camera.
Yeah, and we don't know. We don't know if she's alive, other than if it's aspiration, you're going to have fluid from the interior of her mouth, lungs, or whatever. You're going to have some type of saliva. You're going to have some type of water mixture. But they're really interested in what's going on in the front of the house. Does she fall again? See, they're trying to analyze something going on in the front. And I think that's where the blood trail moves.
Because I'm kind of wondering, so what is above that though? Like where? Let's see.
The other crazy anomaly you noticed on the front of the house, why isn't that light knocked off?
This one right here,
That one up there.
this one.
Yeah. Why isn't that knocked off? The
Yeah,
other
I
one.
don't know.
Why isn't the reef on the front porch used to block the camera instead of a bunch of funky reeds?
Right.
And you see that to me, in my head, it's like, it's just weird. It's almost like, here's the key. Go in through the front door, do what we need to do, and get her out. They get her out. And then the next day, somebody shows up And I don't know. How do you miss all of that on the front porch?
I don't know, because it obviously begs a question, is that after 4 days, so the FBI is here, the mat is still there. There's got to be blood on that mat too. There's got to be DNA of some kind. There could be, I don't know. There could be a lot of evidence there. There could be DNA from the suspects, because that's where they walked. The guy was on the porch there, sticking stuff in his mouth, taking stuff out, pulling on stuff. I mean, that thing would just trap in a good amount of evidence. Makes no sense to me.
Well, plus, if you're worried about being seen, knocking out lights and all this other stuff, why are you walking around with a light in your mouth?
Yeah, that's a good point too.
That says target. I mean, it's like, let me get this right. I'm going to put a light in my mouth, and I'm going to walk up to this house, and then I'm going to go around the backyard and knock out a motion light, but I got a light in my mouth. Hopefully the neighbors don't see me. I don't know.
Yeah, the bite light, right?
Yeah.
Chris, let me read a couple of these, and we'll
Sure,
answer a couple questions.
Keep going. You've got a lot of starred stuff up there.
Let's see. Hello, gentlemen. Chat. Any thoughts that maybe the flowers porch guy showed the camera was to signal someone else watching the camera?
That's a really good point.
I don't know. I never thought about that. Keep up the pressure. Everyone deserves justice. Thank you so much, True Cowgirl. Appreciate you. Worker in home could have left door unlocked. Of course. It's not a bad idea. Why would she have so this goes to the point that I was arguing for a half an hour, I guess. Why would she have a heavy secure door on the front just to leave her back door unlocked? Don't make sense. Look, entry doors are always more secure than other doors in the house, though. And that's standard operating procedure. That's just how they're built. When you go into a hardware store and you say, hey, I need to get a door, they say, well, is it an entry door? Yeah. They take you to the more secure ones, don't they, Chris?
That door costs $3,000.
Yeah, it's a nice door.
Well, wait a minute. You're spending $3,000 on a front door, security door, and you don't lock your back doors? Right.
I'm not gonna comment anymore on it, but I still think it's possible. Don't lock, but have German Shepherd and live with my son. 10.
What time's the Easter Bunny get here? What I'm listening.
Somewhere in April. So I would suggest you lock your doors still, but good thing on having that German Shepherd. Lock my doors my whole life because when I was a kid, the Night Stalker was loose.
Amen.
Shared experiences, I mean, it's one of those things. That's why Chris is so adamant about, like, it doesn't make any sense, because it would make no sense to Chris, because that's how his mind works. I was just trying to look at it from a different perspective, and that's all.
Yeah.
Those of us that are wise to the world, we're often attentive to safety. Of course. Cameras and lights, etc. When I was a little boy, because of what happened to me and my family, I was very adamant about making sure the windows and doors were locked. So makes sense. But not everybody has experienced those sort of things either. There are homeless encampments nearby. They wouldn't leave their homes unlocked at night. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that's what we've heard this from other people as well. Did you hear about the 62-year-old woman they found murdered? Yes. And what was it? The son? They picked up the son on that. Could Tommaso have gone with her into the garage and left through the back door and left it unlocked?
That's a really good point because we don't. You notice the sheriff hasn't talked about how the family got in.
Yeah, he's never said ever.
Nope. Why?
Because there's
why is that such a piece of information that you would not tell the public? And that's why I wanted to know the next morning when they went over there, what time did the garage door activate in the morning if it did? Because they gave us the what time it activated the night before. So did she go through that door at 9:48 and then it closed at 9:50? Okay, then fine. If she left, did she not go through the garage or did she just go out the back door and start wandering the neighborhood with all of her gates locked?
That's a good point too.
You know, and so what led them towards, well, this is a walkaway. This is not a walkaway. This is a walkaway. This is not a walkaway.
Know all the things we know, and we still need to know what you know because there's something out there that we don't know.
That's why, right there. You know, that's why, because they don't know that we don't know that he didn't know. Nobody knew,
Right?
because you unfortunately,
Nobody knows, dude.
this case was solvable the very first day.
You're going to hate.
Sheriff, what do you think?
Know all the things we know, and we still need to know what you know because there's something out there that we don't know.
It's too good. It's just, hey, can you do that that other noise again? But see, I was saying
What other noise?
the
The whoosh?
yeah.
Oh, I think I have another one here. Whoop. Whoop. Oh, Karen made me take it. Hang on.
That was easy.
Yeah, but the one that you did earlier when it said subscribe, I got messages saying that, well, it's probably through a soundboard, and I understand that he can play stuff through a soundboard, but it shows up on my screen where it says subscribe. I don't know how he's doing that.
Magic. I can't. No, that's on that. That was on the video. The other guy.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it's perfect timing. You know, perfect timing.
That was easy.
Oh man, that's funny. All right, why? Because they have
Yeah, exactly.
they have this.
I love. What a great comment.
That's
Nice,
so
Marie.
funny. That's so funny, man. Because they have these overlays that are like where you can do the. And I thought this is what you were doing somehow and showing it online. And I was like, how's he doing that? I didn't know you could do that. Why clean the pool the second day? What chemicals was in the pool? What who ordered the pool maintenance? I believe they need to question the pool maintenance company. I mean, it's why you would be doing anything like that doesn't make much sense to me. The prop door was the one under the roof all the way to the left that goes to the kitchen. I have seen the screen door open in some pics. Got it.
Okay, but why would a suspect prop the door open?
Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't make any sense to me either because, yeah, what would be the point of, unless you're carrying her out on a gurney or something? I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but why? You know, you're not carrying her out on a gurney.
I know that.
Meaning her blood's on the front porch. So what is the purpose of the door being propped open?
I mean, I guess if you're carrying somebody over your shoulder, it would make it easier.
Okay, so we're presupposing that they packaged her up and threw her over the shoulder and took her out.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. It's a good. I mean, it's a good question.
So you're going to prop that door open, and then what? Over your shoulder. You just going to throw her in the car? You're going to lay her in the car? You're going to put her in the trunk? You're going to put her in the back of a pickup? What are you doing? And by the way, you know, now you have 2 bags of cement that you're carrying simultaneously in massive dead weight. They call it dead weight for a reason. And she's not screaming, she's not yelling, she's not doing anything. She's just going along with you. Or is she already dead?
Yeah, I mean, and I mean, I don't know. Look, it's not a pretty picture, but you know, if there's multiple people and somebody has her by the, you know, you know, somebody's got her under her arms and somebody by her legs. I mean, it would make it easier to carry her out. But that's, once again, you know, that's presupposing, and I understand what you mean by that. So I don't know.
I mean,
no Dr. B tonight. Nope.
How do
Dr.
they
B
get? How do
yesterday.
they? Why are the suspects? Why is this happening like that? Even this narrative. I'm being sincere here. I want to know where these theories come from and where these narratives come from.
It's a fair question. I don't know. Well, I do know. Look, most everything that has been put out into the ether has come from Savannah and pretty much her and a little bit of the sheriff, but not, you know, but other than that, that seems about the extent.
Okay, so let's step back for a minute. It's the night of the abduction. Okay, we got the plan. Yep. Car correct. Yep. All right. You wait here. Now I want to go in with you. All right. Let's go through the back. Hey, you're not going to believe this, but doors are open. You're kidding. It's perfect. We don't have to break in. We don't have to do anything. Let's go in. Now you're in the house. She's sound asleep. She can't hear anything. It's dark. And you've got your mouth light that you walked up on the front porch a little while ago before. And you decide, oh, crap, I got to get rid of this camera thing here. I got an idea. I have planned this so well. I'll just grab some weeds and pull it off the wall. Okay. I'll just pull them off the wall. I'll just pull it off the wall with the weeds that I can get from the front porch. All right, the camera's gone. I got that taken care of, and I'll just go ahead and leave the weeds. All right, now I'm in. Nancy's sound asleep. I'm going to wake her up. You're going to do everything I tell you to do. Or I'm going to wrap you in a tarp, throw you over my shoulders, and carry you through either the front door, Chuck, yeah, prop the back door open in case we have to take her out the back, put her on a wheelie or a golf cart that we've got standing by, and get her out of here. That's a good idea, Frank.
I don't think she was put on a dolly.
I'm just talking about the theories.
I know.
That's a great idea, man. How are we going to get her out of the side gate? Don't worry about it. We'll prop that one open too. All right, where do you want me to park the car? I didn't think about that. You go get it. You go get the car and you pull it up here. Good idea. All right. Nancy, you stay here. Wrapped up in the tarp. Really?
It doesn't make, I mean, especially when you lay it out like that, and it doesn't
All
make
right,
it
now, and then
sense.
let's fast forward now 6 hours, because it's 2:00 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning at the latest. 11 a.m. they show up, the RP. Where's mom? I don't know. Let's go around the back. Why don't we just go through the front door? No. Well, why don't we go through the garage? No. Okay, well, let's go around the back and go in. Mom leaves the doors open all the time. All right, we're in the house. Oh, look. There's mom's wallet. There's mom's watch. There's mom's purse. There's mom's medication. Where's mom? Okay. Well, she probably walked away. Or maybe there was a medical event. Let's call all the hospitals. Yeah, that's probably why. Okay. Now, hello. Yeah. Hi, I'm looking for Nancy Guthrie. Who? Can you check to see if Nancy Guthrie is there? My mother's missing. Okay. Well, she probably walked away. I know. And that's why we're calling you. You're the hospital. Okay. Nope. No, nobody here by that name. All right. Let's walk around the neighborhood and look for mom. Let's get in the car and drive around, look for mom. Maybe she's still out there walking in the neighborhood. Nope, she's not here. Let's call 911.
Would you spend an hour looking on your own?
Well, I don't know if you got a panic phone call from your grandmother's friends who said, "Hey, your mom didn't show up. Your grandma didn't show up this morning." Would you spend an hour looking?
No.
What would you do?
It would probably take just a couple of minutes for me to, after I check the places that I know that she would be, if she wasn't there, I would call 911 immediately.
Okay. So 911, what's the emergency? Yeah, hey, my mother's missing. All right. When's the last time you saw her? We dropped her off last night. Who's we? Well, not me, my husband. Okay. Put your husband on the line. Hello? Yes. Can you tell me what's going on over there? Yeah, my mother-in-law is missing. All right. When's the last time you saw her? Well, I dropped her off last night about 9:48 in the evening. Okay. And then where'd she go? She went in the house. All right. And what's going on now? Well, we've searched everywhere. My wife's calling all the hospitals to see if there's any of events that maybe there was a medical emergency. We think it's a medical emergency. All right. What's your mother's name? Nancy Guthrie. All right, sir, stay on the line for a minute. Here's what happens. Okay. Hey, this is Pima County Dispatch. Yeah. Can you get me fire, please? Yep. Hey, did you guys have any calls for service out at this address? Chick, tick, 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 tick. Stand by. Let me check CAD. Doot, doot. Nope, nothing. Zero, zilch, nada. Okay, are you sure? Are you positive at around 2, 3 o'clock in the morning or anything past 2200 last night? Nope, nothing. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, we've got deputies on their way right now. Within 10 minutes, according to the sheriff, deputies pull up. What's going on? Our mother's missing. She's not a walkaway. This is not a walkaway. You hear me? This is not a walkaway. Okay,
yeah,
fine.
that is the exact conversation that I would have. My grandma has a walker, right?
Yeah.
She uses it. She can't walk that far. She couldn't make it down the block. she can make it 100, couple hundred feet, you know, from the car to the doctor's office door, you know, and she can walk through the house and things like that. That's not a problem. She's not making it blocks anywhere. It's just not going to happen. So if somebody knows, if one of the family members knows that, look, some days she can't even walk to the door, well, then for God's sakes, she's not going to wander off into the Catalina foothills. That would be stopped immediately. Like, it's like, no, that's not what this is. And that would be the conversation that I would be having with the dispatch as well. And then the police, when they showed up, it's not a walk away. It's not possible. It's not. And it doesn't seem like it was possible for, it doesn't seem like it would be possible for Nancy Guthrie either.
So Officer Friendly pulls up. Okay, what's going on? My mom's missing. Okay, who are you? I'm the brother-in-law. All right, what happened? Where'd you last see her? Well, we've searched the entire house. Okay, what did you find? Well, the back door was left propped open. My wife's on the phone now calling all the hospitals. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. She's calling her sister. Hang on. Okay. Yes, we called all the hospitals. I know. Okay, well, you can call them too. Okay. Hey, the deputy, can you check to see if we had any medical incidents out here? Any calls for service? Stand by. You don't even have to call the hospital. Because if there was a medical event, number one, that entire neighborhood would have been lit up by the ambulance coming in and all the lights. You know, when you open the back doors of an ambulance, you ever seen all the lights that come off of that thing?
Yeah, my grandma and grandpa have both been taken away in ambulance.
And they're not going to roll code 3, what we call it, into that neighborhood at 3 o'clock in the morning with their sirens going. But the neighbors are going to hear the first fire truck go on the scene, and then the paramedics coming in right behind it in the ambulance for transport.
And the lights are blinding.
That whole neighborhood is lit at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay. And guess what? Not a single neighbor reported that as an incident. And so the first deputy is going to pick up the radio and go, hey, did we have any medical event here last night? And the dispatcher, again, is going to probably check CAD one more time and say, negative, we had nothing occur last night at that address. Okay. Can you call all the hospitals and verify that? Not a problem. Now, HIPAA's not even in play here because this is called exigent circumstances, and it overrides HIPAA because they're trying to identify a missing 84-year-old woman potentially abducted out of her house. So you call the dispatcher calls and say, yeah, can you put me into the charge nurse, please, in the ER? Yeah, stand by. Hey, hi, this is Mrs. Jones. I'm a dispatcher with Pima County Sheriff's Department. This is an emergency. We are trying to identify a female, 84 years old, that may have been brought into the hospital last night. She may be a Jane Doe and or her name is Nancy Guthrie. Stand by, let me ask. Hey, yeah, let me check the computer. No, we don't have anything like that here. How old is she? She's 84. Okay, I'll make sure we tell everybody. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Click. It's that fast.
Sure, right. Yeah, you're right.
Okay? It's that quick. Now, you call your sister, you call your brother, who are you calling? Do you call your brother first and say, Mom's missing? What do you mean she's missing? Yes. She's missing. Okay, well, did you call Savannah? Not yet. Or you call Savannah first. Mom's missing. What do you mean she's missing? Yeah, it's crazy out here. This is unbelievable. It's chaotic. It's problematic. Okay, did you call Cameron? You see how you could, either one could be the possibility. All right.
Sure.
Now, Savannah picks up the phone and calls Cameron. She says, Cameron, what's going on here? Well, Savannah, this is a kidnap for ransom. What? Because of me? Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, he said it. Yes, it could be. Yeah. Which is a weird thing to
It could
put
be.
on.
Now let's go with call number one, Cameron first. The narrative. Mom's been kidnapped for ransom. How do you know that? Because that's what the cops are saying here. Really? Have you talked to Savannah yet? Now this is just conjecture, of course, right? Speculation, purely. Meaning the first call to him, and this could be, a speculative narrative. Really? That's crazy. Why would they be thinking that? Well, because of Savannah's celebrity status. That's nuts. Okay, I'm on my way. Ding. Savannah, yeah. What's going on out there? I don't know. I'm in New York. I'm headed that way now. Mom's missing. I know. Cameron, do you think it could be because of me? Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, it's possible. Yes. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Where did that narrative start? Where did it come from? Out of the air? That Cameron goes right away? Bingo. It's a kidnap for ransom. And within 10 hours, and then 10 hours later, we have your mother, Savannah. And she'll be killed. You're going to do everything we want. But not to Savannah. To her competitor's news station. To Brianna. Not to Savannah, to Brianna. We have your mother, Savannah. Brianna's reading the letter, not Savannah. Why is it addressed to Savannah if you're sending it to Brianna? That doesn't make sense. And by the way, how would they know? How would they have known, okay, to send it to the competitor of KVOA, KVOA is the NBC station, which is the station that Savannah actually worked at? Why would they pick the competitor and not Savannah's? If you really want to send a message to Savannah and get it to her quickly, because she works for NBC in New York, well, then send it to NBC in Tucson. But
yeah, the message would get there for sure.
Within 10 minutes.
It could maybe faster, but yeah.
Yeah. Savannah, we have a letter here from the kidnappers while you're still in New York. What do you mean? What? What are they saying? We're sending it now. The FBI's here as well. But instead, it went to her two competitors in Tucson or in Phoenix, in Tucson, or wherever it is. And you know what? Here's a cherry on top. Let's send it to TMZ.
Yeah.
Here's an idea. Let's send it to TMZ and Brianna versus Savannah. But let's address it to Savannah. But give it to Brianna.
Strange.
It's not strange.
It doesn't make any sense.
And why doesn't it make sense?
I just can't see the conversation going that way, like that, in that order, and jumping to conclusions like that.
it doesn't make sense the same way the guy grabbing the weeds and tries to pull the camera off the front porch.
Yeah. Esmeralda says here, Chris, can you and Karen check this out? Nanos has a satellite office with a private ER line for some people in Catalina Hills. They use it instead of calling 911 for better transparency, which is why there's no record of a 911 call. Interesting.
That's an interesting thought. Thank you, Esmeralda.
They weren't there for an hour looking in the house. The church service starts streaming at 11:30 Arizona time. So friend wouldn't be worried before.
Well, the friend said they don't want to talk about her anymore. I wonder why.
Yeah, I remember that. That was that episode was that you did was wild.
She hung up on Karen.
I
Her
know.
friend. Nancy's friend hung up on Karen. Do the math.
It doesn't make sense. That is another thing it's a weird thing. It's terrible. Out of everything disturbing with this case, to me, the most disturbing is that no one in the family wants to search for Nancy publicly. No outcry. There was initially with the note or with the response to the ransoms, but other than that, do you believe Savannah made a deal to testify, give statements upon her return? Honest opinion, she needs to cough up some 411. Don't mean to be rude, but mom needs this regardless. Grand jury. I don't know. Who knows what's happened. I find it another thing, and I hate to keep saying that because it is odd, but well, that's just not really that important. But
And now you add the anomaly of this nut job in Hawthorne in the middle of this.
Kalalala.
Yeah, the meth, the tweaker. Hey, I got an idea. Yeah. I'm going to look up Annie and Tommaso because I don't know them.
I know that guy's.
I see Savannah on TV begging for her mother with Annie and Cameron. But you know what I'm going to do? What? What are you going to do, Kalala, Derek?
Lala.
I think I'm going to send a text message to Annie's husband. That's a great idea. After all, he's not involved in any of this yet. You're just going to send him a text message. Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to ask a question. What are you going to say, Derek? In between all your tweak. I'm going to ask him if he got the Bitcoin yet. That's a great idea. Let's do that. And you know what? Just because, what else are you going to do, man? I'm going to make a 9-second phone call to a family member that the cops won't identify. What are you going to say? I'm going to ask them something that the cops won't put into the affidavit. And then I know my attorneys later on will be able to make a deal and get me on probation. But before that time, I need to wear an ankle bracelet because I'm going to be extradited from LA to Tucson. And while I'm being monitored by the federal government, I'm going to use all the tweak I want because I'm going to go to court the day of my appearance, and I'm going to tell the federal judge, Your Honor, through my attorney, of course, I'm high as a kite with meth. Bing, 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 because the government's been monitoring me for 4 months. And the federal judge is going to lean over and go, Mr. Kalala, or Kalalala, whatever your name is. There, okay?
Yeah.
Your attorney tells me that you're high as a kite today. Yes, Your Honor, I'm stoned because I did a little tweak before I got in here. Excellent. Well done. probation.
You said you're on the right track, brother. You're mom, dad, you raised him right.
And Your Honor, I just want to let you know, I rode an electric bike over here, but while I had some time, I took it all apart. And just the tire is chained to the front of the courthouse. All the other pieces, I've sold them while I was here waiting for my court appearance, because that's just what we do when we're tweaking. You know, oh, by the way, I cut the lawn out in front of the courthouse. I've disassembled the lawnmower since that time. Okay. And, nothing to see here, Your Honor. But I'm glad my probation officer was keeping an eye on me before I got here and verifying that I wasn't using any drugs.
Yeah, that's good.
And now let me get this right. The judge leaning forward. You're the guy in the Nancy Guthrie case, right? Yes. Correct. Right. Nice earring, by the way.
And look at his hair. It's fantastic.
Come on in. Yeah.
Nice earring.
Is
it? And that's a leopard. I'm telling you, I knew I got the leopard print from somewhere, but his collar looks like that's a mugshot, right? Of him. Wow.
You can't make this stuff up. Look at his hair. It's as if he was from the 70s, but couldn't figure it out how to part his hair down the middle. Nothing to see here. Nobody's using any meth, but you would expect a lot more pockmarks all over his face.
Give him some time.
Yeah. Where's his teeth? I want to see him smile. Then I'll believe the tweet.
I think there's probably a reason he's not smiling.
But I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, we're about done here. I get these dogs are. Where's
I'm
Buddy
not
at?
saying they're not innocent. Go ahead, plug that up there again. If you wouldn't put that up there, I'm not saying they're not innocent in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying the story's kind of weird. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it certainly is. It certainly is.
There's always the possibility that somebody could have been hired, and that porch guy is, just a hired hand. Here's a key. Go do what you need to do.
He looks like he just finished a shift at the Chuck E. Cheese wearing one of those costumes. I don't know. That mugshot is an all timer. It really is. It's up there with Randy Travis and when he had the black eye, and then there's Nick Nolte.
I mean, honestly, do you think this guy has even a 2-pound brain to think about? You know what I think? You know what I'll do tonight? What's that? I think I'll interject myself into the largest kidnapping investigation in the country right now. I'll just fire it out. But nobody's asking, why did he text Tommaso?
Yeah, I that's what I'm saying. Like this, so you're telling me that this guy was like, I'm gonna Google or reverse search for these people's number and get it, and then try to extort them. You're telling me that this guy just randomly found their numbers on the internet? I'm not saying it can't happen. I know that people go, you can do it easily. Yeah, you might be able to. I don't believe that he can do it easily.
But why
fight me for it? I don't care.
Why Tommaso? How many knew who Tommaso was before this guy?
Nobody.
That's the point. That's my question. Tommaso's not even in the conversation with the disappearance of Nancy. Nobody knew about him. His name wasn't even mentioned. And now we go back to Tommaso, yeah, we need your car.
Oh, she said that wasn't my tone at all. I don't think that he took it that way. I was
No,
adding.
Not at all.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
No,
No,
I don't
no.
think it was. I don't think it was taken that way.
You're good. I know. I understand where you're coming from, kiddo.
No one cares for my mother. Mother than Annie and Tommaso. No one protects her more than Cameron. Meanwhile, Nancy takes an Uber and her Nest camera and no subscription. Look, I would agree with you that it was certainly lacking, but I'm telling you, I still feel like for some reason there was like this false sense of security and you know, not to rehash it because we've already went over it forever, but is Gem guy mix up off the table? He works for Visla Silver. 9 VS workers were kidnapped January 23rd, and KD'd, which is killed by the cartel. And mix up, weird coincidence.
Yeah, I mean the mine guy down in Mexico and all that stuff. What?
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay,
Yeah.
but how do we tie this into? Here's a good idea. Let's go ahead and take Nancy Guthrie. Because they figured out the cartel did the mine thing.
Well, that was the thing with John. With the other day when we were, I think maybe you guys were on my show. I can't remember, but John was like, "That doesn't really make any sense." Like the cartel comes. Oh yeah, it was the guy from West Virginia. Remember, I was laughing at him and he was getting mad at me, but he was saying like it was the cartel. And then John goes, "Well, can you imagine like somebody from the cartel going, kidnapping her, bringing her back alive, and then all the cartel goes, what the hell's she doing here?" You know.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make that. That's just not really what cartel.
Or here's an idea. Yeah, we're sorry. The cartel, doesn't apologize for everything.
They're not apologizing
for anything.
No. The cartel's in the business of, and they do kidnap. There's no question about it. But they're in the business of kidnapping and getting paid fast, quickly. They're not wanting to keep people around. And to keep such a high risk, we've talked about this, but to keep such a high risk person on hand is just, it doesn't seem logical. All right, Chris, I've had you for 2.5 hours. Tomorrow,
hey,
you got a show.
Great show tomorrow.
Okay.
The name of it is Death Behind the Walls. And you'll find out what I mean by that.
Cool. I can't wait. So we have we got about 5,600 people here.
There's Meatloaf.
There, he's a little tubby boy. He's tired. We have you pinned in the chat. Make sure to sub up to the interview room. Help them hit 300,000. They're very, very close. I know you guys will get over there and do that and hit the notification bell. Is it scheduled already?
No, I haven't put up the thumbnail yet. I'm going to put it up in a little bit.
Yes, but just go to the page, hit the notification bell so you get notified for all upcoming shows. And Chris has been just absolutely doing great work with John Lamb over there as well, and Dr. Gary, who was on the show last night. And if you haven't seen the call-in show from Dr. Gary and I last night, go check it out. We had a good conversation, a lot of fun. It was heavy too, but there was some lighthearted moments as well. So, yeah. Chris, I appreciate you always.
Always, of course. And Sheriff, what are your thoughts about tonight's show?
Know all the things we know, and we still need to know what you know, because there's something out there that we don't know.
I mean, he's got a point.
He does have a point.
It's coming out of the top of his head, but he's got a point.
What about haters, though, Sheriff?
Dude, that when you did
where's
that,
yours? Where's yours?
When you did that and that popped up, I was like, how is he putting graphics on the screen?
Yeah, but what about the haters? Sheriff Nanos, what about the haters?
Well, you know how that goes, Chris.
Haters are going to hate. Know all the things you know, and we still need to know what you know, because there's something out there that we don't know.
Sheriff Dennis, can you elaborate on the haters are going to
You're
hate?
going to have the haters, right? Haters are going to hate.
I mean, that's hey,
There it is.
he's
All right, buddy. Well,
Thanks, Chris. I
aloha.
appreciate
Have
you.
a good night. Thanks, Lab
Cool.
Rats. See
All
ya.
right. Thank you so much, Chris. That's a great show. Had a great time. Thank you guys so much for being here. Check up over on the interview room again. Hit the subscribe, and please, if you enjoyed the show tonight, please consider subscribing to this channel as well. We thank you guys so much for being here, and we will catch you next time. Appreciate it.